Hey guys, it's your girl T. So it's time to recap the Real Housewives of Atlanta. We all tuned in last night to watch the show, and the show was off the chain. So let's go ahead and get this recap started. So in the opening scene, we have Claudia and Kenya. And Kenya's going to Claudia's house, and she's dressed up in this beautiful sundress. She has on some red bottoms, and she gets to Claudia's house, and Claudia literally has no furniture, and all she has is some red Solo cups. And she invites Kenya to sit down on the rug so they can start putting together this shelf. And Kenya's like, I didn't get dressed to wear no red bottoms to put together a shelf. This is ridiculous. What are you talking about, Claudia? And Claudia's like, you know what? Stop acting like you're all bougie. Stop acting like you're not from the hood. Girl, come on over here and sit next to me and help me put all this together. So Claudia's a straight up mess. A lot of people are talking about her voice is irritating, but I like Claudia's voice. I like how it's deep and husky. So Claudia is funny as hell. Claudia's trying to get her life together ever since she moved from New York down to the A. And it's going to take her some time to get everything together because she's not obviously trying to live above her means. She's trying to be as comfortable and maintain her checks as long as she can. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Todd and Kandi. And if you have not heard, Todd's mother, Mrs. Sharon, she died last week. So this whole situation is sad. So my condolences definitely go to Todd and Kandi and their family. Also, Kelly Rowland's mother died as well. So in this scene, Todd and Kandi are going to go visit Candy's old house. And as you guys all know, Kandi has had this old house for a long time. She purchased this house when she was about 17 or 18 years old. And it's a nice house. You know, it's a ranch style home. It's real big. You know, Riley grew up in that house. Kandi basically grew up in that house. And she ended up giving the house to Mama Joyce. But Mama Joyce claimed that she didn't want that old house. She wanted something new. And that her boyfriend was going to fix it up and renovate it. So that way Kandi could put it back on the market and sell it. Well, Todd and Kandi get there. And when I tell you Jesus couldn't even fix this. And we all know Jesus was a carpenter. The condition of this house made no sense whatsoever. This is a house that nobody's paying a mortgage on because the house is paid off. This is a house that can be used as rental property. And instead of Mama Joyce taking care of that home or renting it out, they decide to destroy it. I mean, they got doors in the middle of the hallway that are just leaning. They have a toilet in a closet. They have stuff just broken up. And you can tell by Todd's face, he's just disgusted. He's really upset. He's like, you know, your mom just does not respect you. She does not respect how hard you work. She doesn't respect your money. Why would they do this knowing that now you got to pay money out of your pocket to come fix this house? And on top of that, you just bought her a 7-bedroom house. You know, Kandi was like, you know what? I do feel like sometimes she takes advantage of me. I'm going to try and talk to her. But again, it's that same old song and dance with Kandi. Once again, Kandi's scared of her mom. Kandi's scared to say, you know, how she really feels to Mama Joyce. But yet and still, she never checks Mama Joyce when she goes out her way to disrespect Todd or Todd's family. Like I said on Twitter, I feel like if Kandi doesn't get a hold of her mother and get all this stuff, you know, checked and get everything together, Todd's going to end up leaving her. Because at the end of the day, there's only so much a man can take. And a man is not going to watch a woman that he loves get disrespected time and time again and then watch her allow the disrespect and be okay with the disrespect. You can tell that Todd is truly getting tired. And especially being that now his mother has passed on and knowing what Mama Joyce said about his mother, it's going to cause a lot of conflict in their relationship. So Kandi needs to be really careful so that way she does not mess up her marriage and end up ruining her marriage behind her mother. I think Kandi needs to step up for herself and stand beside her man. Moving on to the next scene. The next scene, we have Cynthia Bailey. And Cynthia Bailey's at her house. And once again, she's bumping her gums about Miss NeNe. And she's talking about how NeNe keeps doing interviews about her. And how NeNe can't keep her name out her mouth. And Cynthia's talking to Peter. She's talking to her mother. And she's talking to Mel. And I'm sitting here like, Bravo TV needs to hand all three of them a peach because they stay in Cynthia's business. And Cynthia has no other storyline than ranting about NeNe to her family. You know, it's like if NeNe was such a horrible person and you're so over NeNe and now you're Miss Independent doing you, then why do you keep bringing up NeNe's name? Why are you not talking about other things? Why are you not, you know, talking to your mom about how her life is and how she's doing? Why can't we know more about Mel and what she's doing in her life? Why does everything always have to focus on NeNe and how happy Cynthia is that she got away from NeNe? I'm going to need Cynthia to find a whole new storyline. Moving on to the next scene. So the next scene, we have Kandi and Phaedra. Kandi's going over there to go pay Phaedra a visit. And Phaedra's in the kitchen cooking up some green. And she's telling Kandi that, you know, she loves green. She's a big fan of green like money and green like guacamole. And I'm sitting here looking at this like, really, Phaedra? you're a big fan of green like money. You know, to me, it's just too early for the green money jokes, especially when your husband is getting ready to go to prison, especially when he scammed a bunch of folks out of their green money as well. So I was just looking at her like, girl, I'm gonna need you not to joke about money and green ever again. So basically, she's telling Kandi that she's upset because she has not talked to Apollo, and that Apollo's running around acting like, you know, life's all good and like he has no worries, like he doesn't have to turn himself in a few weeks to go to prison for the next 8 years. And Candy's like, you know what, you know, maybe he's just handling it differently. You never know what he's going through. But she said that she refuses to call him. He hasn't reached out to her, so she's not reaching out to him. So then Kandi tells Phaedra that she wants Phaedra and all the girls to meet up together and go out to dinner and maybe settle all their differences, because she talked to Kenya and she feels like it would be a good thing if they can all meet up and discuss everything they've been holding in. Phaedra agrees that she'll go to dinner and meet up with everybody. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have NeNe and Greg, and basically they are teaching Brent how to drive. Brent is 15 going on 16, and Brent is a big boy. He's as tall as NeNe, and it's funny to see how much he's grown. I remember when the show first started, he was about 10 years old. So it's funny now that he's trying to drive and trying to get his license. And Greg had me cracking up. He came out with head to toe football gear. This fool had on a helmet. This fool had on a helmet, shoulder pads, and a damn oven mitt, telling me he's ready to teach Brett how to drive. So that whole situation had me cracking up. And NeNe is like, you know what, Greg, what are you doing? You're just so extra. You know, Greg is such an old man. He's just so over the top. But it was sweet to see both of them, you know, taking part in teaching Brett how to drive and being there for him. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Claudia and Kenya. And basically, they're going out to the gym to go work out. And Claudia's saying that she wants a bigger booty. And Kenya's like, do you think that you don't really have a big butt because you're half white? And Claudia's like, well, yeah, that might be the reason. And I'm like, really? Because she's half white? I know white girls who have naturally big butts, and I know black girls who are naturally slim. Like, what does that have to do with race? At the end of the day, if Claudia wants a booty like Kenya, she needs to ask Kenya what doctor she went to, as opposed to what exercise routine that she's doing. I get so tired of girls trying to mirror themselves and trying to look like people who have fake bodies. Like, her ass is not real. Not everybody wants to walk around here looking like they're half reindeer. You know what I'm saying? If that's your natural shape, then that's your natural shape. You know, I'll never understand when women are 100% natural, but then they sit there and they pin themselves against women who had augmentations, who had liposuction, who have implants and injections. It's like you're sitting here beating yourself up over something that's unattainable. I don't care how many squats you do. You're not going to go from having a small frame or a small butt like Claudia Jordan to having a Nicki Minaj butt. You can only go from that with surgery. Just like if you're an A cup, it doesn't matter how many times you go like this and you bench press and, you know, you do things. You're not going to go from an A cup to a triple D. Like, that's just not possible. You're going to have surgery for that. You're going to have surgery for that, just like Portia did. So that whole conversation to me was stupid when everything on Kenya is fake. Well, her hair is real, so I thought that was kind of silly of Claudia talking about she wants to, you know, get in shape to look like Kenya, when Kenya don't even look like Kenya without the plastic surgery and the enhancements. So after they get done working out, they decide to just sit down and talk to each other. And once again, Claudia is not bringing anything to the table. She goes into a deeper conversation about her tragic mulatto childhood and how she didn't fit in with anybody, how the dark-skinned girls made fun of her. They didn't like her because she was light-skinned and she had long hair. The white folks were racist to her because they looked at her like a nigger and all this other bullshit. My thing is, when I look at Claudia Jordan, other people confirm this too, and other people confirm this on Twitter too. When I see Claudia Jordan, she doesn't look mixed to me. Like, I just thought she was a light-skinned woman. I think she's a beautiful woman, but she doesn't look biracial to me. She just looks like a black woman. So I find it funny that a lot of people went in on her for being mixed because she doesn't really look biracial. Like, when I look at like Kadada Jones and Rashida Jones, Quincy Jones's daughters, Rashida Jones, sometimes when I see her, I have to remind myself that she has a black father, because Rashida Jones tends to look white a lot of times. She looks like a white woman. Kadada Jones, she looks more biracial to me. And I understand that mixed people can come out looking any type of way. They can come out looking darker. They can have more black features. But I just find it funny that Claudia went through all this adversity, but yet and still she went to a racially integrated school. So I don't know. I just find it sad that she went through that, but I get tired of hearing the same old stories about females. You know, either you were picked on because you were biracial, you were made fun of because you were dark skinned, people, you know, were jealous and hating on you because you were light skinned. We all went through shit as children. We all got clowned. Kids are just insecure and evil. We've addressed this several times. Can you let us know more about you? And I want Claudia to bring more to the table so that way we can really get to know her. So I just found that whole little conversation, to me, it's like I've heard it time and time again. So I was basically over it. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene is a big dinner scene, and Phaedra decides to lead everybody in prayer, and she basically prays to Jesus to basically protect them from Jezebels who wish to inflict them with their wicked ways. So she's saying that, Kenya Moore walks into the restaurant. I'm like, Phaedra is so damn shady. That lady is messy as hell. So Kenya walks in, NeNe walks in, Cynthia walks in. They don't speak to each other. Everybody sits down. So, you know, Kandi says that she brought all the ladies together to basically hash out their differences and see if they can all come together and be on the same page. So Kenya starts off and she's like, you know, I don't appreciate you guys talking about me, calling me all types of whores, and especially after Apollo admitted that he lied. You know, and I feel like even though he lied, you guys are still not allowing him to vindicate me, and you guys would rather hold on to this rumor that me and him did something. And so Phaedra was like, well, I don't owe you anything. You know, I feel like he lied, but if you feel like he's telling the truth, then that's on you. But you were very disrespectful in your ways. And Kenya's like, I didn't do anything to you. You know what I'm saying? You guys put me out there. Once again, she's playing the victim because, like I said, I don't agree with how Kenya was flirting with Apollo. She wasn't innocent in all this. And she did a lot of things to make people think that she may have been doing something with Apollo. And I don't know if she was doing that for a storyline, but it's obvious that it backfired in her face. So Phaedra is basically adamant that she doesn't owe Kenya an apology and that she's not going to apologize. So Kenya decides to be the bigger person and tell Phaedra, you know what, well then I apologize to you for anything I may have done wrong. If I made you feel any type of way about your husband, I apologize, but I think that it's unfair that you won't apologize to me as well. And Phaedra holds strong to what she believes in, and she refuses to apologize to Kenya. So the whole situation was just a mess. So then after they get done talking, NeNe and Cynthia end up talking about their situation, and they start going back and forth. And when I tell you, NeNe let Cynthia talk for a little bit, and NeNe went all the way in on Cynthia, and she basically called her out. She was like, you know what, Cynthia, you're fake and you're phony. You allow social media and everybody else to get into your ear. She said, after I apologized about calling your husband a bitch, she said, after that we were still cool. You came over for Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving, we spent the holidays together. It wasn't until after that episode aired that you want to start acting funny towards me. And Cynthia was like, well, no, it was a lot of things. It was a lot of things that you had been doing to me. I've been taking your disrespect for years. And NeNe's like, okay, well, name one thing. And then Cynthia's like, well, I don't want to put everything out there. It's not that serious. And NeNe's like, nah, put it out there. If you're telling the truth, put it all out there because I don't mind. And then Cynthia gets quiet. NeNe starts going off on her. She was like, I loved you like a sister. I was there for you. I had your back when nobody had your back. I brought you on the show. NeNe was spitting a lot of truth, and you could tell there was a lot of pain in NeNe's voice, and NeNe felt really, really, you know, upset. Like, you know, sometimes when you're so hurt by somebody, you get upset and you blow up. And what I found funny is the whole time Cynthia was just sitting there quiet, she had her hands folded like this, and that bitch was nodding in agreement. And I'm like, all this shit that Cynthia done talked ever since this show done started. You know what I'm saying? All this shade that she's been throwing at NeNe. Now you have NeNe in your face. Why are you not coming back at her? Why are you not throwing all these jabs at her that you've been throwing at her? So to me, Cynthia tries to act like she's about that life, but once she's confronted, she's not. Because like I said, the whole time she just sat there quiet and nodded her head, almost like she was in agreement with everything NeNe was saying. Even though NeNe was basically not showing her any level of respect, it's like Cynthia is still scared of NeNe. So that whole situation was just insane. Dinner was a mess. A lot of people are also saying that Kandi's messy for even bringing all these women together. And Kandi's just trying to create drama to keep the show going. I don't know about that. I just think that Kandi's trying to more or less be the peacemaker so that way she can get along with all these people. When I tell you that damn dinner was off the damn chain. So anyways, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this week's episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. What did you think about NeNe basically going off on Cynthia about everything? Did you believe NeNe or did you believe Cynthia? And then how do you feel about how Mama Joyce did that damn house? So anyways, go ahead and leave a comment. If you're not following me, I am at LovelyT on Twitter. And I'm at LovelyT2002 on Instagram. Alright, deuces.